The Desperate Call. The Kryn research vessel Luminous Dawn floated like a broken dream in the depths of space. Its once gleaming silver hull was now scarred and blackened from the engine explosion that had torn through the lower decks 3 days ago. Inside the ship, the air tasted of smoke and fear. Emergency lights flickered weakly, casting strange shadows on the walls. 47 Kryn scientists and crew members huddled in the main compartments, rationing oxygen and hoping for a miracle they no longer believed would come. Commander Velis stood at the damaged control console, her 4 slender arms working frantically across the cracked displays. Her pale blue skin had turned almost grey from exhaustion and stress. The Kryn were a peaceful species, scholars and researchers who had spent centuries studying the stars. They built beautiful ships meant for discovery, not survival. They had never imagined being stranded in the outer reach, the lawless border of explored space where pirates and raiders hunted freely. The explosion had happened without warning. One moment they were conducting routine scans of a fascinating nebula formation. The next moment, their entire propulsion system was destroyed. The blast killed 6 crew members instantly and left the ship powerless, drifting on momentum alone into increasingly dangerous territory. Velis had immediately sent distress signals on every frequency the Kryn communication system could reach. She broadcast their location, their desperate situation, and a plea for any nearby vessel to assist them. That was 3 days ago. 3 days of silence. 3 days of slowly dying hope. The Kryn were members of the Galactic Cooperation, a loose alliance of peaceful species who shared knowledge and resources. Surely someone from the Cooperation would answer their call. The Thexian traders often passed through this sector. The Molvari diplomats had outposts nearby. Even the reclusive Quinn might respond to a genuine emergency. But the communication channels remained empty. No friendly voices, no rescue ships, nothing but the cold, indifferent void of space. Junior Officer Thane approached Velis cautiously. His wings, normally a bright coral color, were folded tight against his back in distress. "Commander," he said softly, "the oxygen recyclers are failing in Section 4. We need to move everyone to the upper decks." Velis closed her eyes briefly, gathering strength she did not have. "How much time do we have?" 2 days, perhaps 3 if we reduce activity to minimal levels. Thane hesitated before adding, "Commander, there is something else. Long-range sensors detected movement at the edge of the nebula." Velis felt a spike of hope pierce through her exhaustion. "Is it a rescue ship?" Thane's expression darkened. "I do not know. The signature is unlike anything in our database. It does not match any Cooperation vessel, and it is too small to be a cargo transport." Fear replaced hope in an instant. Pirates. The Zargoth raiders were known to hunt in these regions, preying on disabled ships. If they found the Luminous Dawn helpless and stranded, they would strip the vessel of everything valuable and leave the crew to die in the void. Or worse, sell them to slave markets in the unmapped territories. Velis straightened her posture, refusing to show the terror clawing at her heart. "Send the distress signal again. Broadcast on all frequencies. Tell anyone listening that we are a civilian research vessel with no weapons and no valuable cargo. We need immediate assistance. Please, if anyone can hear this, we are dying." The words hung in the air like a funeral prayer. The crew members nearby heard the broadcast, and their faces reflected the same hopelessness Velis felt. They all knew the truth. No one was coming. They would die here, forgotten in the empty space between stars. Minutes passed like hours. Velis stared at the sensor display, watching the unknown contact move closer. It was approaching rapidly now, moving with a strange, purposeful trajectory that did not match normal patrol patterns.
Whatever it was, it had detected them and was coming directly toward the luminous dawn. "Commander," Thane whispered, his voice shaking, "the unknown vessel is increasing speed. They will reach us in less than 20 minutes. Velis made a decision. "Gather everyone in the central chamber. Lock down all access corridors except the main docking port. If they are raiders, we will not make it easy for them." The crew moved quickly, fear giving them energy. Parents carried their younglings, scientists abandoned their precious research. Everyone crowded into the largest chamber, a circular room with high ceilings that had once been used for ceremonial gatherings. Now it would be their final refuge, or their tomb. Velis watched the sensor display as the unknown ship drew closer. Her analytical mind tried to make sense of what she was seeing. The vessel was small, perhaps a quarter of the size of the luminous dawn, but it moved with incredible precision. No wasted motion, no hesitation. It traveled through space like a predator stalking prey. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, then the ship appeared on their visual displays. Velis felt her breath catch in her throat. The vessel was unlike anything she had ever seen. It was dark, almost black, with angular surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No markings, no identification symbols, no lights, except for a faint blue glow emanating from what might have been engines. The ship looked dangerous in a way the Kryn had no words to describe. It looked built for violence. Thane stumbled backward from the console, his wings flaring in alarm. "Commander, that ship, it is not requesting permission to dock. It is overriding our systems." "What? How is that possible? Our security protocols—" "The protocols are being bypassed," Thane interrupted, his voice rising in panic. "They are opening our docking bay remotely. I cannot stop it." Throughout the ship, the Kryn crew heard the terrible sound of the main docking bay doors opening. The mechanical grinding echoed through the corridors, a sound that meant their last defense had failed. Whatever was on that ship would soon be aboard the luminous dawn, and there was nothing they could do to prevent it. Velis straightened her uniform and walked toward the chamber entrance. If these were raiders, she would face them with dignity. She would not let her people see their commander cowering in fear. The crew parted silently, creating a path for her. Their large dark eyes watched her with a mixture of respect and terror. Younglings clung to their parents. Scientists held each other. Everyone waited for whatever horror was about to enter their ship. Heavy footsteps echoed from the corridor. Not the light tread of Kryn feet or the shuffling walk of Thexian traders. These were boots, heavy and deliberate, striking the metal floor with rhythmic precision. The sound grew louder, closer, accompanied by the hum of machinery and the hiss of pressurized atmosphere equalizing. Then they appeared in the doorway. 3 tall and broad figures encased in armor that seemed more like second skin than protective gear. The armor was dark grey, with sections that glowed with soft blue light. Their helmets were smooth and featureless, except for a horizontal visor that gleamed like polished glass. They carried weapons, strange devices mounted on their forearms and holstered at their sides. Each movement was controlled and purposeful, radiating a sense of contained power that made Velis's instincts scream danger. The lead figure stopped just inside the chamber entrance. For a long moment no one moved. The Kryn crew stared at the armored strangers. The strangers observed the Kryn with inscrutable visors. Then the lead figure spoke. The voice came through external speakers, deep and clear. "Kryn vessel Luminous Dawn, we received your distress call." Velis forced herself to speak despite the fear constricting her throat. "Who are you? What species?" The figure tilted its head slightly, a gesture that seemed almost curious. "We are human." The word meant nothing to Velis. She had never heard of humans in any cooperation database or galactic registry. That terrified her more than anything else. An unknown species with advanced technology and military capabilities appearing in response to their distress call. "I am Commander Velis. We are grateful for any assistance, but we did not expect—" She hesitated, unsure how to phrase her fear politely. "You did not expect us," the human finished. "You expected members of the cooperation. They did not come." "No," Velis admitted quietly. "No one came." The human nodded slowly. "We came because someone had to." The other human stepped forward carrying a device that projected holographic displays into the air. The images showed the luminous dawn's damaged systems, detailed schematics that the Kryn had not transmitted.
When Deathworlders defend, the next 40 minutes felt like an eternity aboard the Luminous Dawn. Commander Velis had gathered all Kryn personnel in the reinforced science laboratory at the ship's center, the furthest point from the outer hull. Parents held their younglings close. Scientists who had spent their lives studying peaceful phenomena now faced the reality of violence. The air was thick with fear and the sound of quiet prayers to ancient Kryn deities who seemed very far away. Through the internal communication system, Velis could hear the humans working throughout the ship. The sounds were unlike anything she had experienced. Metal being torn and reshaped, strange mechanical whirring, occasional brief exchanges in the human language, sharp and efficient. Whatever they were doing, they worked with incredible speed and purpose. Thane monitored the sensor console they had brought into the laboratory. "Commander," he said quietly, "the Zargoth fleet has entered visual range. 7 ships, 4 raiders and 3 fighters. They are forming an attack formation." Velis felt her heart sink. 7 ships against 3 humans and a disabled research vessel. The mathematics of survival seemed impossibly grim. Suddenly, the internal speakers crackled to life. The lead human's voice filled the laboratory. "Commander Velis, this is Captain Chen. Can you hear me?" Velis rushed to the communication panel. "Yes, Captain Chen. Can you hear us?" "Good. Your life support is now stable. We have restored partial power to your shields, though they will not withstand sustained fire. Your propulsion remains offline, but that is intentional." "Intentional?" Velis asked, confused. "Why would you leave us unable to move?" "Because if you could move, the Zargoth would chase you. Right now they think you are helpless prey. That perception is useful." Velis did not understand the logic, but she had no choice except to trust these strange warriors. "Captain Chen, what is your plan?" There was a brief pause before the human responded. "The plan is simple. They will attempt to board your ship. We will ensure they regret that decision." The communication ended abruptly. Velis stood frozen, trying to comprehend what she had just heard. The humans intended to allow the Zargoth to board the ship. That seemed like madness. The Zargoth were vicious fighters, equipped with advanced weapons and decades of raiding experience. Movement on the sensors caught Thane's attention. "Commander, the Zargoth are hailing us." "Put it through," Velis ordered. The holographic display activated, showing the scarred face of a Zargoth captain. His species was reptilian, with thick scales and multiple eyes that gleamed with cruel intelligence. He smiled, revealing rows of sharp teeth designed for tearing flesh. "Kryn vessel," the Zargoth captain hissed. "You are disabled and alone. Surrender your ship, your technology, and your crew. Do this now, and your deaths will be quick." Velis forced herself to speak calmly despite her terror. "We are a civilian research vessel. We've nothing of value to you. Please, leave us in peace." The Zargoth captain laughed, a harsh sound like rocks grinding together. "Everything has value, little scholar. Your ship has metals we can salvage. Your equipment can be sold. And your people? The slave markets always need workers. You have no choice. Surrender or be destroyed." Before Velis could respond, a different voice cut through the communication channel. The Zargoth captain's smile vanished instantly. "Zargoth vessel, this is Captain Marcus Chen of the Terran Defense Corps. The Kryn ship is under human protection. You will leave this sector immediately." The display split, showing Captain Chen's face for the first time. Velis gasped. Without his helmet, the human looked shockingly vulnerable. His skin was tan, his features angular, his eyes dark and intense. He did not look like the terrifying warrior she had imagined. He looked almost ordinary, except for the absolute confidence in his expression. The Zargoth captain stared at the human face with confusion, then growing anger. Human? I do not know this species. You are 3 against 7. You are insects threatening a storm. Move aside or die with the Kryn. Captain Chen's expression did not change. Last warning, leave now. The Zargoth captain snarled, "Kill them all!" The communication ended. On the sensors, the Zargoth ships broke formation and accelerated toward the luminous dawn. Velis felt panic rising in her chest. "Commander Chen, they are attacking! 7 ships! You must—" "Stay in the laboratory, Commander. Do not leave for any reason." Chen's voice was calm, almost casual. "This will be over quickly." The first Zargoth fighter reached firing range and unleashed a barrage of plasma bolts toward the luminous dawn. The Kryn crew screamed, bracing for impact, but the restored shields flared to life, absorbing the initial assault. The ship shuddered, but held. Then something impossible happened. From the exterior docking ports of the luminous dawn, objects launched into space. They were small, moving with incredible velocity, leaving trails of blue light. Velis watched in confusion as the objects intercepted the Zargoth fighter with precision that seemed computer-guided. Explosions blossomed across the fighter's hull. One object struck the fighter's main engine, and the entire ship erupted in a ball of flame and debris. "What was that?" Thane whispered in shock. Velis had no answer. The humans had somehow placed offensive weapons on the luminous dawn in less than 40 minutes. Weapons powerful enough to destroy a Zargoth fighter with a single strike. The other Zargoth ships hesitated, clearly surprised. Their formation broke as they tried to reassess the threat, but the humans gave them no time to adapt. More projectiles launched from the luminous dawn, arcing through space with unnatural accuracy. A second Zargoth fighter attempted to evade, its pilot executing maneuvers that would have impressed any flight instructor. But the human weapons tracked every movement. 3 projectiles struck in rapid succession, and the fighter went dark, spinning lifelessly into the nebula. "Impossible," Velis breathed. "How are they doing this?" Captain Chen's voice came through the speakers again, but now he was speaking to someone else. "Santos, target the lead raider's weapon systems. Lin, I want their communication array offline. Leave the engines functional. I want them able to run." "Affirmative, Captain," a female voice responded. "Marking targets now." Through the viewport, Velis saw the battle unfold like nothing she had ever witnessed. The humans did not simply fight. They controlled the battlefield with surgical precision. Each shot had purpose. Each movement had meaning. They were not trying to destroy the Zargoth fleet. They were dismantling it piece by piece. The largest Zargoth raider attempted to close distance, clearly intending to board despite the danger. It launched smaller assault pods, armored capsules designed to breach ship hulls and deliver boarding parties. Captain Chen's voice remained utterly calm. "Boarding attempt detected. Santos, you have control." The human named Santos responded immediately. "Acknowledged. Deploying countermeasures." Velis watched as new devices activated on the luminous dawn's hull. They looked like small cannons, but instead of projectiles, they fired concentrated beams of energy. The beams struck each assault pod with perfect accuracy, not destroying them, but disabling their maneuvering thrusters. The pods drifted harmlessly past the luminous dawn, their Zargoth occupants trapped in useless metal coffins floating in space. The Zargoth captain's voice erupted across all frequencies, no longer confident, but furious and desperate. "What are you? What species fights like this?" Captain Chen responded, his voice now carrying an edge of cold steel. "We are human. We are from Earth, and we are the species that answered when no one else would." Another Zargoth ship exploded, then another. The remaining vessels began to retreat, their engines flaring as they desperately tried to escape. But Captain Chen's voice stopped them. "Zargoth ships, this is your only chance. Power down your weapons. Remain stationary. If you attempt to flee, we will destroy you." The authority in his voice was absolute. Even the Zargoth, warriors who respected only strength,
heard something in that tone that made them obey. One by one, the surviving ships went dark, floating helplessly in space. Captain Chen continued, his voice broadcast so that every Zargoth could hear. You came here to prey on the helpless. You came expecting easy victims. Instead, you found humans. Remember this moment. Remember this lesson. Any ship that flies under human protection is untouchable. Spread that message to every raider, every pirate, every predator in this sector. There was a long silence. Then the Zargoth captain responded, his voice stripped of all arrogance. We understand. We will leave. We will spread your message. Good, Captain Chen said. Your weapons will remain disabled for 6 hours. That gives you time enough to leave this sector, but not enough time to threaten anyone else. Go. If we encounter you again, in these territories, there will be no warnings. The Zargoth ships limped away, damaged but alive, carrying with them a story that would spread across the lawless regions like wildfire. The humans had arrived. The humans were not to be challenged. Inside the luminous dawn, the Kryn crew stood in stunned silence. They had witnessed something beyond their comprehension. 3 humans had defeated 7 Zargoth ships without suffering a single casualty, without even raising their voices in stress or fear. The laboratory door opened. Captain Chen entered, followed by his 2 companions. They had removed their helmets, revealing faces that looked tired but satisfied. The human, Santos, carried repair equipment. The 3rd human, Lin, held a datapad displaying the ship's systems. Commander Velas, Captain Chen said, your ship is secure. Life support will remain stable for weeks. We've installed a basic propulsion system that will get you to the nearest